CanJam London has just finished, and it was quite a bit busier than last year's show, with several new products being shown off as well. But before we talk about some of those highlights and answer the question of can Cam Jam with cans at CanJam, we had a bit of a pre-CanJam Jam here at my place, and it turns out that if you talk about subwoofers too loudly, doesn't matter where in the world you are, Zeus Pantera will appear.
What?
Two friends brought over what for me is one of the most exciting headphone releases in a long time, besides one other thing which we'll talk about a little bit later in the video. And this one is the ModHouse Tungsten. It is the first fully in-house developed headphone from Ryan at ModHouse Audio, and it is one to look out for because this is fighting with headphones in the $4,000 and $5,000 price range. It is exceptionally good, but it's $2,000. For the price to performance ratio on this is crazy. What's also crazy is how hard it is to drive. You need a ton of gain to run these. It was also great to finally get to hear the Cabasse Rialto in my own listening space. Those are bookshelf speakers with up to 1500 watts output each. They just have low-end extension that does not make sense for how small they are. Room correction built in and a ton of other features. Those were excellent. And obviously it was fantastic to finally get to share this listening room and the Focal Sopra No. 3s with other people as well. Then we headed up to London for CanJam itself, but before I tell you about that, I've got to tell you about something else we've got going on right now. It's for a really good cause, and we'd really appreciate if you guys can lend your support. We're trying to make Resolve smile. Now, this is something which doesn't happen very often. There's only a couple recorded instances in history of Resolve actually smiling, but his happiness is directly proportional to how many of you guys subscribe to this channel. So if you guys can lend your support, hit that red subscribe button down below, and maybe, just maybe, we can make Resolve smile. So thank you very much for your help, guys. The biggest product highlight at the show for me personally was without a doubt the Headphone version 2. Now, the original headphone, it got quite good subjective feedback, but the main issue with it was that it just straight up did not fit a lot of people, myself included, because I have massive noggin syndrome, so I never really got to experience it. But with the Headphone version 2, they've gone from having some fairly janky ergonomics to some of the best. The headband allows you to not only adjust height, but clamp pressure as well, and the weight of the headphone has been cut almost in half with some upgrades like a carbon fiber headband and redesigned driver cups.
One strap is like for the shape of the head, running from the length of the tip of your head to your ear, and the other strap changes the clamping force. So you can adjust it to whatever preference you have, be it head banging or be it just quiet listening.
Yeah, we do have a lot of customers working in the recording industry, mixing, mastering engineers, that are wearing these for very long periods of time, hours and hours every day. So the idea is to really give you like a custom fit experience.
And so not only did it actually fit me with a few notches to spare, but it was incredibly comfortable too. I've actually got a pair here which I've been listening to for quite extensive periods of time, and I'm slightly falling in love with it the more that I listen to it.
It's been improved on its magnetic system, streamlining it to make it more powerful but at the same time lighter. At the same time also reducing resonances that have been in the membrane, refining it to make a more linear frequency response and a more clearer and less distortion sound experience.
What are these going to wire them?
These things are awesome. How much did you shave off weight-wise?
25%.
Only 25? I felt like 40%.
I know, I was gonna like half. It's fantastic. Very detailed, very wide, not super deep, so like pretty like narrow in terms of like stage depth, but like timbre's fantastic, detail speed. This is very, very good headphone.
These had quite a lot of people talking at the show because these are proper flagship sounding headphones at half the price of typical flagship headphones. And so between the Headphone 2 and the ModHouse Tungsten, I think we're going to see a bit of a shake-up in certain areas of the headphone market because the price to performance ratio on these is just so compelling. We've got some more content coming on the Headphone 2 specifically, and not just a review. I've actually got a ticket booked to Berlin in a couple of weeks, so get subscribed if you want to see some behind the scenes of how they're actually made. What I love about CanJam London in particular is how much variety of stuff there is to see at the show. Everything from low-cost IEMs and portable sources to chains costing hundreds of thousands of dollars, and absolutely everything in between. Now, the IEM market in particular was there in full force, and there were definitely some highlights from that. A manufacturer from Greece called Soundz was there for their first ever CanJam, and they had a few interesting products in their lineup. Their flagship IEM was incredibly technical, but most people I spoke to, and actually my own personal preference, led me towards the one down from that called the Flame. The flagship was more detailed than the Flame, just by a bit, but the Flame, the tuning was so spot on. It's slightly warm of neutral, a little bit of a bass emphasis, extremely dynamic but very spacious sounding for an IEM. It's got a much bigger soundstage than you would typically expect from an in-ear monitor, and it just ticked a lot of boxes. At $1,200 or so, that's going to be one to look out for. But I think it's fair to say that what really stole the show was the Symphonium Crimson. God damn, that thing is good. I was a big fan of the original Symphonium Helios, other than the fit, but this is a step up in all areas, and any IEM close to the $1,200 mark should be getting nervous right now, because the Crimson is coming for your market share, unless you prefer a much more vocal forward tuning, in which case the Nightjar Singularity might make you cry a bit.
Singularity. And I'm just starting to cry.
Look what you've done to this man. Look what you've done.
I'm just crying.
I'll refrain from saying anything further about the Crimson for the moment, because we do have full reviews coming, so make sure that you get subscribed so you don't miss those. And to help resolve Smile, it's a difficult journey, guys, but I promise you, with your support, we will make it happen. If you can't wait to get a pair of Crimson for yourself, they are available at headphones.com though, or if you want to try them without buying, come to CanJam. There's SoCal next month, that's not far away, and New York's pretty early next year too. They're such amazing events, and if you do go, make sure that you take some time to explore the cities that they're in, because they're in such fantastic locations, and London particularly so.
Trying to find where your friends are in a sea of people, but it's okay, because one of them is almost 7 feet tall.
Zeus, what have you done?
What?
What have you done?
I've never seen food. Well, I used to do it. Okay, I'm fine.
It's not just cans at CanJam though, there's seminars from people in the industry teaching you about new and upcoming technologies and the theory behind how products are made, and Q&As with reviewers as well. But also stuff to run your cans on, including something which even got Zeus tearing up.
I can't. So good.
Wait for the tear. It might actually count. Ave Maria.
You look like you're about to cry.
Ave Maria on these.
The MassKobo 465 is an amplifier that I am very sad I can't afford. It is handmade in Japan by Mr. Matsuda, with only the top few % of parts selected to actually be used in building it, an over-the-top approach to design, and he even hand paints the volume indicator on it. It's beautiful. There's no other word that I can use for it. It even got people who usually don't care about amps in the slightest really thinking. So if you have a bottomless budget, you owe it to yourself to go and hear that. For those of us without a bottomless budget, though, there was a lot to try, but I was particularly fond of the ZMF and JDS Labs collaboration amplifier.
It's, as you've come to know from JDS Labs, a really nice anodized aluminum body. As you've come to know from ZMF, we've got this really nice rich light faceplate, and we're really excited to debut it because we haven't had something that fits really nicely on a desktop. You can use it, you know, next to your computer and it's not in the way.
Certainly fits the aesthetic.
Fits the aesthetic, yeah. It's got the VU meter, which is a little bit sort of that like vintagey steampunk ZMF vibe.
And there's a few internal changes that change the sound a little bit. It gives it a slightly higher output impedance, slightly moves it away from a more neutral sound to make it pair better specifically with ZMF headphones. I always come away from CanJams feeling very sad that it's over, but very glad that it happened, and this was no exception. There are so many incredible products to try out, so many incredible people who are so passionate about what they do, and it's infectious. I can't help but be smiling for 99% of the time that I am on the show floor. And I caught up with Alessandra Cortini from the 9 Inch Nails, friends from the US that came over for the event, and even outside of the event, it was a fantastic time. It was so awesome to see so many of you guys there too, and I really hope that we see just as many, if not more of you, at SoCal in September. There's more thoughts and coverage coming from us on some of the highlight products from this year's show, including the Symphonium Crimson and the Headphone version 2, including some content that you will not be able to find anywhere else. So get subscribed, else you'll be out of the loop, and you don't want that. I'm GoldenSound, this is the Headphone Show by Headphones.com, and I'll see you soon.
At the
I
glass.
can feel these vibrating.
You know, that was the goal.
I can just feel them shaking.
I want them to be the bass